Well, hello everybody. It's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you crochet tutorials. Today I want to slow things down and I want to do a video, and I'm going to do this one on half doubles because that's what the Crochet elf scarf was in. I have been reading comments, and I'm seeing some people said they had to Google other tutorials because they were just truly struggling with my tutorial on this elf. And I just want to shout out to and say I'm very sorry that I've had so many people struggle on this. My original goal on this was that it was going to be fun. It was going to be easy for you to understand, and the opposite happened with the fun part. But let me tell you, some of the scarves that people, not some, let me rephrase that. All of the scarves, there was one even they did in a snowman, but all the Crochet elves, every one that I've seen, I've absolutely loved. Just an example, there was a post of one that was they couldn't find the Crochet elf color, so they used a darker green, and that one rocked too. Like, I love when I see different people's color schemes, different color choices, different ideas. Someone else put I forget what they're called, the berry leaves on the scarf. That was beautiful. I love seeing all of your ideas, all of your color choices, all of it. And I just want to say I'm really sorry that you guys struggled on this. So I want to take quite a few steps back, and we're not going to talk about the popcorn stitch tonight. We're going to talk about just corner to corner. I've done quite a few tutorials on the popcorn stitch, and please understand if you're still struggling with it, I will happily do as many videos as you need to get the help that you need to be successful. That's all Maggie, Lauren, and I want. We want you to be successful in your crocheting journey. We will always take it back to the basics when people are struggling. We're never going to jump so far ahead where some people that are still trying to learn that we're just not going to have time for. That'll just never be the case. It is important to us that you understand how to do this craft if that's what you want to learn. And corner to corner is something that once you understand the basics to it, and once you learn how to apply those basics to it, it's really neat what you can do. But it is important to understand the basics to it. So that being said, I just grabbed, and I know, happens to be green. I just happened to grab some yarn. And I do have my handy dandy container of stitch markers, and I'm going to show you how I use them, especially for people that are really just learning this. The stitch markers really might be helpful for you for a while. It's not a requirement by no means, but it's just an idea that maybe it'll help you. Truly, you don't know. Everybody learns differently. I am more of a hands-on learning person, me personally. Some people learn by reading directions. So everybody learns differently. Other people learn by someone explaining it to them and them just actually watching it. We all learn differently. And I just, like I said, I want you to be successful. So this is just a sample. I grabbed one of my handy dandy clover hooks that I love. It's a 5mm. This yarn that I'm doing is from Hobby Lobby. Anybody that knows me knows Hobby Lobby it will always be my go-to. I love their yarn. So let's start. And like I said, this is going to be half double crochets. That's all. And if you have any questions, you can post them at the bottom of this thing, or you can come join us on our Facebook group under Whip and Chain. So we're going to start with a slip knot. I brought you in nice and close so you can hopefully see what I'm doing. See better. So for half doubles, you're going to chain 3. I chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just a normal chain of 5. Okay. Now you count from the stitch that's right below where your crochet hook is attached to your yarn, this one. Okay, so this is 1. The next one is 2. You need me to bring in a little bit more. Here's 1. Here's 2. And this is the third one. That's the one we'll be working on. And then you will have 2 more here. Okay, so we'll be working right in the third one. So right up here is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so you're going to wrap your hook. You're going to go in, you're going to grab some yarn and bring it up. 3 loops on your hook. You're going to wrap, and you're going to go through all 3. Then you're going to wrap your hook. You go into your next stitch, which is right here. Make sure you don't go into the same stitch that you already went into. See, we went into this one already. So we're going to be going into the next one, which is right there. Okay. Another half double. And then your third one right here, your last stitch. Okay, another half double. And this is your first square in your corner to corner. So you take that square and you flop it right over. Okay, so we're going to increase. By increasing, you want to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So every time you're on an increase side that you want to increase the width of your corner to corner, you will always do a chain 5 for the increase. Okay, and you will do it the same way you work down here. So you will take third chain from the hook. So here's the first, here's the second, and here's the third. And that one you're going to do a half double in, just like that. Now the next stitch right below it, right here, you're going to do another half double. And you have one more stitch left, which is right below it, right here. Notice you're only going into that one side. You're not trying to go through both sides. You go right in here, and you will do a half double. Okay. And there you completed another square for corner to corner. Now, if you look at your bottom square, on the left, I'm right-handed, okay? So on the left side, you're going to see bring it in. On your left side, you don't see this chain right here. We're going to be putting, see that chain right there? You're going to be putting your hook. Don't wrap it because we're just slip stitching. Put your hook completely in there. You're going to wrap the yarn, bring it through, and bring it through. Okay? It may look a little funny to you, but it's correct. All right. So let me zoom you out a little bit so you have a little space to look at me. Look at the camera. Look at the video. Now, chain 2. 1 and 2. And in this gap where you slip stitched, you can still see it. It's right there. You're going to put in 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Just 3. And if we set it down and really look at it, here is first square. Right here. Second row should be 2 squares. And right here, your 2 squares. So we already did 2 rows. So now, just flip it completely over. Put your hook back in. Now we want to still increase. To still be able to increase, I want you to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So to continue to increase, we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. You count from your first chain right here. And you're going to count 1, 2, and 3. Right here is where we're going to be going into to do a half double crochet. Right there. All right. You're going to put another one in the very next stitch. And one more in that third stitch. So if you put a half double in the third stitch, we chain 5. So you put 1 in the third stitch, 1 in the fourth stitch, and 1 in the fifth stitch. Okay. And you did another block. So now we're going to look in the middle here. And you know that chain area? It'll always be on your left side. Chain area. This is your chain. Because when you're on this side, you did the chain 2. When you turn it, it'll always be on your left. So you take your hook and you slide it into that gap, not into the top of the chain. Right into the full gap, okay? Wrap your hook, bring it through and through. What this slip stitch does is secures you to your next block, and that's what you need. You need that secure so your stitches stay in the place that they need to be. Okay. So now we chain 2, and then you put in 3 half double crochets. So it's 1. That's 2. and that's 3. So you go to your next block and see that gap on the end, right to left. Again, you go right into that chain area, right in that whole gap area. Again, not into the chain, you go into the gap and you slip stitch. And we'll make another square. So the square consists of a chain 2 and 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And what you did is now you have row 1, row 2 with 2 squares, and row 3 with 3 squares. Okay, so by increasing on both sides, you're growing this equally out. So it's on both sides, it's going to keep growing this direction. Okay, so let's do another row. So all you do is you flip it over, and can you guess what we do? I'll give you a minute to do the first part of what we do, and I'm going to show you. See if you got it. Give you a minute. Take your time. I'm here. You can pause me if you hear me start talking. Did you chain 5? If you did, that was correct, because we're still increasing. So let's chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What's your next step? Your next step would be count the chains. 1, 2, 3. You go into that third chain and you do a half a double. Then you go into the fourth chain and you do a half a double. Then you go into the fifth chain and do a half a double. Okay. Now you go to the right side of your next square. You find that gap. Stick your hook in it. You grab some yarn. Pull it a little taut, not ridiculous tight, and then you slip stitch. Chain 2 and 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And after you do those 3 half doubles, that square is done. So then, you see how the squares lay at different angles on each other? That's the way it's supposed to be. So you go to your next square, you find your gap, you go into that complete gap, and you slip stitch. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and then in that same gap you will put 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3. You just have another square here. Do another one. So you find that gap right here. Put your hook in there, and you slip stitch. Chain 2, and you put in your 3 half doubles. And after you put in your 3 half doubles, that row is complete. Now I'm going to pause the video. I want you to do 5th row on your own. I'm going to do 5th row too. Then I come back. You're going to see my 5th row done, but we're going to talk about it. Okay, now I did the 5th row. You'll always know what row you're on as long as you're doing your full increases by the count of your squares. Excuse me. So the way I started this is I chained to 5. Then I did a half double crochet in the 3rd chain, 4th chain, and 5th chain. Then I slip stitch to the next one. Then I chained 2, and I did 3 half double crochets. After I did the 3 half double crochets, I slip stitched to the next one. I chained 2, and I did 3 half double crochets. Then I slip stitched, I chained 2, and I did 3 half double crochets. Then I again slip stitched, chained 2, and I did 3 half double crochets. And that is how you keep growing your corner to corner. Now, if you wanted to let's see, what can I say? What can we do? We can decrease. So by decreasing, instead of chaining 5, you take your hook, and in these single crochets, you slip stitch all the way over. All the way over. Okay. To you're in your gap. See the gap? So now what you do is you chain 2. And you put in your 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you slip stitch over. Actually, it's not it is a decrease, but it's not a decrease. I think I better clarify this. You're not increasing. So the automatic opposite is decreasing. But you can keep this width by just keep doing that. So like you want to keep the same of the side. So you do that slip stitch, and then right on top of that square, you do your square. Let's keep going. I'll show you more. So we chain 2, and you put in 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you slip stitch, chain 2, 3 half double crochets, slip stitch, chain 2, and 3 half double crochets. And only slip stitch in that gap. Do not build another one up there. Okay. So in this one, we did 1, 2, 3, 4. So we went down from 5 to 4. So you're closing this in one step at a time. So now if you turn, you slip stitch again on the top of those crochets until you get to that chain space, which is right there. Okay. Chain 2, and then you put in your 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3. All right. See how this side is staying the same? See how it's staying the same? It's not going in, but it's staying straight. Okay. Then we slip stitch to the next one. Chain 2. Put in 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch. Chain 2. And 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And you slip stitch. See how your square's slowly coming in? Now we only have 3. Your sides are staying the same. Your sides are staying the same, but you are bringing it back in to make your square. It does take a little time to understand it all, but I hope me going slower and me actually demonstrating this does help you a little bit more. And as I do more tutorials on corner to corner, I think each one, if you watch them and you take the time to practice, you're going to start understanding. And I almost forgot to mention, you can use the stitch markers, if you like, to mark your chain 2 spots so you don't have to guess where they're at when you're crocheting. They do work, and it does help a lot of people. Okay. So now we're going to slip stitch over. Slip stitch 1, 2, 3, and right into this chain. Just like that. Chain 2 and 3 half doubles. 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch, chain 2, and 3 half doubles. Now this is, I want to iterate how important it is. After you do your 3 half doubles, you do need to slip stitch to that corner, or it's going to be just waving out there and has nothing to hold on to. So now slip stitch at the top all the way over, to the gap, chain 2, put the 3 half doubles, 1, 2, and 3, and then you just slip stitch to the gap here, and you made a square. Now, one of the cool things that you can do, we decreased on both sides so we can make a square. The thing is, though, you can do a decrease on one side and you can do an increase on this side. So this side, we could do that slip stitching over like we did. And this side, you can do the chain 5s. Or you can pick this side. You can do the chain 5s on this side and the decrease on this side. And what that does is it'll make it a rectangle for you. You just got to choose how many squares you want this to be wide, so you keep growing it until you have the block of squares that you want. Once you have the block of squares, pick a side. I want to increase on this side. I want to decrease on this side. And they'll even out and they'll stay a rectangle. And the other really, it's really important. Always do your slip stitches in the chain spaces, not in the chain, but in that gap. Go in there, right into the gap space with the chain. You go in that full gap space. That's where you slip stitch. And never try to pull your yarn extremely tight. It can make this project pucker. Let your yarn flow evenly, nicely. If you have to pull some extra out, pull some extra out so it's not so tight. But take your time. Corner to corner is something that you can do so many projects with. So this is just one tutorial of many that I'm going to do to help you become very, very successful at corner to corner. Thank you so much for watching our video on corner to corner. Can you please help us out and hit that like and subscribe button at the bottom? And again, if you have questions, you're having problems, if I see it, I'm going to message on there. Message me through Facebook and I'll message you back and let me know what times work for you, and I can see what I can do to make it work, that I can help you get through it. And that's what we're here for. We are here to help you be successful. And we want you to be successful. We don't want you to give up on something that we know you can do. Again, can you please hit that like and subscribe button at the bottom? And if you already haven't, can you come join us on Facebook? We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, everybody, please enjoy crocheting. It's a wonderful hobby to do. Happy crocheting. Bye.